welcome back for another trade review. Unfortunately, today's review is on a loss that I took. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes, for whatever reason, I decided to take my rules, rip them up, shred them, and toss them out the window. A couple days ago, I took a loss that, for whatever reason, didn't really sit that well with me, and it kind of carried over into the next couple days of trading. So on Tuesday, I took a red day, and then Wednesday, I actually made most of that red day back comfortably. And then today, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was confidence or what it was, but I ended up oversizing and didn't take that large of a loss. But since I oversized the dollar amount that I was down, I was not comfortable with seeing. So I was kind of I was almost in denial with seeing how much I was down. So then I just let it get even worse. And I ended up taking around a 36% loss, which is really not something that is acceptable in my trading. So if you take a look at the screen, the first loss today was on AMD. If I go back into replay mode and I select here and I set my alerts, previous day high, what I was looking for was a break and a retest of previous day high. So now if I go out of replay mode here, I go to the 5-minute, go back to around when I entered. So I'll go to replay mode. I'll go to what I was looking at here. So on the 5-minute, what I saw was exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for a break, got the break, and then a retest of previous day high. Looking at that, I saw that candle closed. I watched this wick form, and I loved that we closed above previous day high. This, to me, was all of the bullish action that I wanted to see to let me know that, okay, buyers are really taking control here, and I want to give this an attempt. Well, any other day when I'm following my rules and I'm positioning myself correctly, and I'm not oversizing in a trade, not undersizing, just that perfect 10 to 15% of my account into a trade, then I can comfortably enter here. Or even better, wait for the next candle and enter once I see that bullish push off of the level. So something, here it is, come down, and then as it starts to push higher, enter on this candle. So just to make sure and confirm that we are, in fact, going up away from the level, kind of pushing off. So I did wait for that candle, and let me just kind of slow this down here. So I waited for that candle, and I know that happened pretty quick. But this candle here, as you can see, this wick, it was pushing away from the level. So we came down, and at first we were around this level, not really moving anywhere. And then this wick happened, and we started to go up. This candle started to form up, and it was going. And this is around when I entered. So I was around like 60 cents away from the level, which is completely fine with me. I wasn't buying at the all-time highs. I wasn't buying the high of this candle, the high of day. We were forming above this level, so I wanted to take a chance. Well, as you can see, this candle here failed under the level. And sometimes that's going to happen, and that's totally fine if I'm positioning myself correctly and sizing correctly in the trade, which today I did not. So when this candle closed down here, so we were coming down and I really wanted to wait for a candle closure. So I did wait until this candle to cut it. But while this was closing, we actually came back up with about 50 or so seconds left of this candle. We came back up, and I thought we were going to close above the level, and I was jumping for joy. It was amazing. I loved watching it. I really believed that the buyers were stepping in, and we were going to continue higher towards all-time highs and break the all-time highs. But then sellers stepped in and kind of just decided that no, it's not time. We don't have strong enough buyers here to break all-time highs. Then we close underneath. So here is where I really should have cut immediately during this candle, but I didn't. I waited for this candle here. And the reason I did that was because I was only down about 6% here or so. It was really not that much, but the dollar amount was way more than what I'm used to because I sized up. I sized up on a trade that was pushing into all-time highs. I really kind of should have known that around all-time highs, there's some games that are going to be played. There's some traders up here that have been waiting for this moment. There's probably traders up here that bought a ton of shares or whatever it might be all the way up here in around this 300, 305 level up here, just waiting to get out of their position because they've just been bag holding up there. And the sellers stepped in, and if I get out of replay mode, you can see once it loads here, you can see that the buyers weren't strong enough. We closed. this candle gave me a lot of hope. While this wick it was filled in, was pushing higher and higher. I was really excited about that. And then we closed underneath, and I sold right in here, which again, following my rules in that sense, but I positioned myself so large in this trade that it really hurt my account. So I really have to stick to consistent position sizing. And then, as you can see, this ended up working out. There was just a lot of games being played. The buyers did indeed step in, and they muscled the sellers out of the way to form new all-time highs. And then we came back down, and now you can see in after hours, I mean, this is really working out, which is great. I'm never going to, like, this is one where you enter a trade, and if I were to close my eyes and just hope and pray and walk away, it would work out as long as we stay this strong into tomorrow. But that's not what I'm here to do. That's just gambling, and I do not want to gamble. That is not why I started trading. So that was my loss on AMD. Not a proud one at all. I really felt pretty good about my entry. I like the setup. I still kind of like the setup. I think I would take this trade 10 out of 10 times. I know hindsight, you're looking at it and you're like, what on earth are you seeing? But as this candle was forming, it looked like this was a break, a retest, and then this was the candle that was going to push higher. That's what it looked like. And obviously it failed, and it's going to fail. And to keep my emotions out of this, I have to stay with a consistent size so that seeing that dollar amount does not affect me nearly as much, because it just creeps into my mind and I start thinking, wow, that's a lot of money that I'm down. I don't want to be down that much. I'm just going to wait for a little pump to the upside and then I'll sell. Well, yeah, sure. Then this candle happened and I was up maybe around 10%. And I thought, all right, no, we're going all time highs. I didn't trim. I didn't do anything. And then we came right back down and closed underneath. I'm sure there's plenty of you that have been in the same position, but we just have to keep practicing. We got to build that discipline up so that we don't slip and position ourselves too heavily in these trades. As soon as that starts to click and we listen to ourselves because we know what to do, then that's when the money will start coming in. I know it's going to happen, but we just have to believe in ourselves and we have to learn from these mistakes. Because if we're not learning from the mistakes, we're just going to continue to keep making them. The next trade that I took, so once I took this, then my emotions really kicked in. Then I was thinking, okay, I'll wait for another setup. In the moment, I actually felt pretty calm. Once I caught it, I was like, okay, that was kind of silly. Why did I do that? But then I was thinking, all right, now let's look for another setup. We'll wait for some alerts to go off. So that's when NVDA alerted. So not too long after. And I was patient. I waited for a nice entry. However, I did it again, and I said, okay, I lost this amount. This is what I positioned myself in size-wise in AMD trade. So I'm going to position myself the same amount in this next trade so that I can offset it. Well, you might be able to guess what happened. The trade failed again, and I lost at a larger amount than what I'm used to. So this trade here, again, hindsight's 2020. It's very easy to just look at this and wonder, why did you enter this trade? What are you doing? This is going down and to the right. But you got to remember that this was in the moment. We're not hindsight traders. We're in the moment. If I go to replay mode and I select this candle here, this is what I was looking at. This to me, and I gotta say, if I saw this tomorrow, I would probably be taking the same setup. But this to me looks like a trend line waiting to be broken, heading down into previous day high, which is the level that I was looking to break and retest. It was lined up with pre-market high. Also lining up with the 9 EMA and VWAP here. So in my mind, I looked at this and I said, this is way better than the AMD entry. This could be gold right here. Well, I did the same thing. So this broke previous day high, and this is what alerted me. However, we had pre-market high above, so I was really looking for a break of both levels. So this candle here was really my break, and then I was looking for it to come back down and retest that level. This candle here looks real nice. The buyer stepped in. It seemed like they were in control. However, I didn't enter because I really like entering as close to my levels as possible. I'm really technically, kind of a levels only trader. I don't really have a ton of success entering on EMAs, so I try to stay away. But when they're paired with a level, that just gives me even more confirmation, usually. Well, so I waited, and then this candle formed. I thought, okay, this is actually working out pretty nicely. This candle formed, and we're still coming down. In the moment, I was thinking, all right, this is really nice. It's kind of working its way, candle by candle, getting closer and closer to my level. Then that's when this candle stepped in, and at first, you can see this big wick. We broke below the level, but then the buyer stepped in and told me that, okay, these buyers are starting to put up a fight. They want to hold this level so that we can push even higher. So then if I, let's see here, we'll play a couple more. Then you can see, obviously, we never really broke that trend line. However, you see this wick here. In the moment, This candle was green and it looked like it was pushing higher. So I entered right around this trend line break here. So I entered during this wick. However, we of course closed lower. We did not close during this candle. We did not close under the level. So I did not cut here. I let this trade ride. And unfortunately, since I entered here on this kind of trend line break and not right at the level, I was down around here. I was down around 5% being here. And I positioned myself far too large in this trade. So I saw the dollar amount and I thought, okay, I'm going to stick to my rules and cut once we break the level. However, I entered kind of high, a little far away from the level, but I do want to give it some room. And then we broke the level and I cut it. Let's see here. This one, I was in some big time denial, unfortunately. So this candle here told me that the buyers were in control. I entered here, and then we broke and closed under this level. And at this point, after losing the first one on AMD, I was waiting for this candle to close. Why? I don't know. My rules clearly say once you break and you close under on the opposite side of the level that you entered on and you're looking to push off of, then I have to cut it. But my emotions kind of took over, and I waited for this. I thought maybe we were going to close back above the level, so I gave it some time, and we were above it at one point. Here I was down. I went back up to being down around like 5 or 6%. And then as you can see, sellers stepped in. We closed under here again. And then we started to head towards this previous week high here, this blue dotted line. And as you can see, we held this level pretty nicely. But if I enter up here, this is not going to be my stop loss. That is a ridiculous range for a stop loss. So I did cut. Let's see, entered here, waited for that. I cut during this candle here, kind of just randomly. I was honestly sitting there looking at the screens, and I thought, I have to get out of this trade. I cannot just sit here or else everything's going to be gone. Not everything. Obviously, I took a loss on AMD, so that money was safe that I got out of, but this position that I was in was going to go to zero. That's what it was in my mind. I finally I guess I kind of manned up and said, all right, fine. I have to just accept my fate here. I have to cut my loss. This was a very stupid trade. Why did I do this? So I cut it. As you can see, it came back up to right about where I entered, so I could have close this position out about break even, but that is not, again, I'm not looking to just enter and then close my eyes and hope and pray that it goes up or at least comes back. When I first started trading back in around 2020, that's what I would do sometimes. I was in crypto and I was just entering trades, and then when it wasn't working out, I was thinking, well, if I don't sell it, then it won't be real, so I'll just let it ride until it comes back. Then it would come back, and then I would just sit there and think, well, if it came back this far, what if we just kept going? And that's just terrible. So I was just gambling, going back and forth. So today, not great management with my risk. I don't even, I know why I entered large, and it's because I took that red day a few days ago. I made it back, but in my mind, I wanted to almost prove that I can grow my account, and it just didn't work out today. And this is really, at the end of the day, this is a great lesson. If it had worked out, then I probably would do this same mistake later on down the line. At some point, I was going to make this mistake again. And hindsight, I guess, glass half full here, I'm happy that it happened now and not a week from now or a month from now or a year from now. So lesson learned, I have to stay consistent with my position sizing, that 10 to 15% in each trade, so that I don't see all of a sudden half my account's in a trade and I see that it only moves down 3%, but you're down a boatload of money because you decided to size up. And then all of a sudden your emotions come in and tell you, hey, you can't lose this much money. You have to stay in this. This has to work. That's the whole psychology with trading. That's why trading is difficult. But as long as you are in a position that you're comfortable with and you are comfortable with losing, and if you stick to that 10 to 15% position size, then you're going to be perfectly fine. You're going to be okay. Keep the losses small. I failed to do that today, and I'm trying to be transparent. I'm trying to help anyone else that is kind of in the same boat, that just kind of feels like you're stuck and you keep making this mistake, you're making progress, and then all of a sudden you have one day like this and it like crumbles apart. I'm also kind of looking for help. Anything that you guys have, suggestions on what I could do better, I am all ears. I kind of thrive when someone is kind of being blunt with me and being honest and just telling me like, hey, this was really stupid, like why did you do this? So that would help me out. Honesty is definitely a motivator for me. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you're kind of doing the same thing as well, if you're kind of in the same rut or you're not having progress at all, or maybe you are, but then like once a month you kind of have these days and it just sets you back to square one. But know that you're not alone. I know I'm not alone. In the moment, it feels like there's no one else in the world with you and it's just you and your thoughts and you're just wondering why you're an idiot. But it's just another lesson learned. And I gotta say, I'm looking forward to scrolling through my charts, setting my alerts, and getting back at it tomorrow and kind of proving to myself that I can be disciplined. I'm not gonna worry about making the money back because that'll come. I'm more worried about staying disciplined and proving to myself that I can stay consistent in my sizing. I can cut when I'm supposed to cut. I can take trims when the trade is working out and it's going in my favor. I can not be greedy. I can stay away from FOMO. I want to prove to myself that I can do all of these things. It seems like a lot, but take it day by day and it's all going to work out. Just keep learning from each other. Let me know what you guys think. Any tips, any suggestions? If you just want to agree with me and let me know that this was a really stupid trade that I made today, that would be great. That would help me out. But I'll see you in the next review. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully we're green. But biggest goal here is staying disciplined. So see you in the next review, and let's make it a nice disciplined trade. See ya.